Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing, as promised, my video predictions for what I think is going to happen next in the Walking Dead comic book series after issue 156, leading into the Whisper War. Okay, and spoiler warning as usual, if you guys have not read issue 156 for the Walking Dead comic book series yet, if you missed it, I did a review last week for it on Wednesday on release day. Queen and King, awesome issue, man. Definitely check it out if you want to hear my thoughts on the whole issue. Just a loaded issue. All kinds of craziness. Just a huge change for the Walking Dead. So, spoiler warning. So, coming up after that issue, a lot of people wanted to hear my thoughts on what I think is going to happen next for the Whisper War. We're just getting into it now. There's going to be 6 parts confirmed so far for the next story arc, which will be at least part 1 for the Whisperer War, if not contain the entire thing. I've already given my thoughts a few times, saying that I do think it's probably going to go longer than one story arc, than one 6-issue, trade, and I still hold to that. I still think it will actually be longer, but we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. So, issue 156, the end, of course, we have Negan who cuts off the head of Alpha in absolutely brutal, sadistic fashion. And it looks like he is actually going to be returning the head to Rick, or at least he says as much. Wait until Rick gets a look at you. As he holds it up. Pretty brutal page, man, to finish off, 156 with. Definitely getting Comic-Con kicked off right for me with the issue being released in July. August 3rd is the release date for issue 157, so can't wait to read that. That's part 1 on the cover. You have Rick, of course, really angry. And well, obviously we read it before as Rick being very angry at Alpha, it looks like, as he's looking up to the right, his right. And then you have Alpha there in the background with kind of the blood splatter, which takes on a totally new meaning now for us after 156. There is something else subtle that I want to point out here, though. If you look at everybody in the background behind Rick, it's almost like they're grossed out, or they're like, whoa, hey, whoa, this kind of deal. So one of the big questions was, after reviewing 156, do we think that Negan is actually going to return the head to Rick, and that he really doesn't want to be with the Whisperers, and he's not going to be? It seems like to me that's the case. It seems like to me the best comparison I've heard so far in the comments is that Rick is pretty much to Negan as you would have in Dragon Ball. You have Goku to Vegeta, where Vegeta starts out as a villain, of course, is defeated by Goku, and then eventually kind of becomes like an ally. I really see that happening in the Walking Dead comic book series right now, unless there's some kind of twist or something. It does look like Negan is actually going to leave the Whisperers, maybe right away, with Alpha's head, and bring it to Rick, and then maybe everybody in the background is grossed out as a result in next week's or next month's issue. So can't wait to read the issue, can't wait to find out, but it looks like that's probably what's going to happen. Now, what does that do in terms of the Whisper War? Doesn't that end the war right away? Well, because, the leader of one group has been killed, the Whisperer leader has been killed. I would say definitely not in this case, because we know that Beta absolutely hates Negan, that's for sure. Hated him from the start, never wanted him there. And, obviously once he finds out what Negan did to Alpha, is going to really hate him. So I'm thinking that Beta is probably going to take over the Whisperers, and he's probably going to be even more apt, more now than ever, to lead them to war against the survivors, knowing, of course, that Negan has left and has probably gone back to the survivors. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody kind of catches wind of Negan leaving with the head and is able to see him and see that he goes back there. Of course, they'd have to let Beta know, because he's probably going to take over, I would think, lead of the Whisperers, since now Alpha has been actually killed by Negan. So it's almost like with what Negan's doing, he's trying to kind of end the whole war with one assassination, with one kill. And actually, what he's actually probably going to do inadvertently is make it even worse and just make it so that the war is 100% going to happen. But I do get the sense right now, I do really feel like Negan has grown to like Rick over time. I really think Negan does respect Rick, and he actually does like him, and he actually wants Rick to like him back. which is very interesting, right? Definitely a Vegeta Goku type of situation, which I like a lot. So I really hope that's where Kirkman is going with this. It sure looks like it. And man, it should be crazy to see Beta and the rest of the Whisperers attack, and just what's going to happen at that point. And is on the cover, like I said, has Negan brought the head back, and is he showing it to Rick, and Rick just loses his mind, and everybody else be like grossed out and everything, like, oh my god. Crazy, man. So that's 157, the plot for the issue. I'll put the link in the description to the wiki. It says, the time has come, the forces are aligning, the war has begun. Has Rick brought about the demise of everything he's built? Or will he triumph once again? Know this, there will be a cost. That's for sure. There's already been a cost. So that's 157, man. Can't wait to read the issue. Just cannot wait. 158 is an interesting cover as well, too, because in 158 we have Negan, who appears to be on the side of the Whisperers, which is pretty weird. I don't know if that's probably just a mix-up with the cover, where the cover is kind of not 100% representative of what's happening. Because if Negan gives Rick the head and goes back, how would he end up back with the Whisperers again, fighting alongside them? And how would they, treat him? Or will he become the new Alpha? That's kind of what, as people were saying. Well, if he kills Alpha, he is Alpha, so he's the top dog of the Whisperers. That kind of deal. But how would Beta? How would he allow that? So that's if Negan does not return the head to Rick and does not do that. But it seems like he's going to, based off the end of the issue. Then the other part that's really interesting is that you have Michonne at the bottom with the blood splatter behind her, just the same as from part 1, where you had the blood splatter behind Alpha, and Alpha is, of course, killed. So is that telling us that Michonne is going to be one of the casualties in this issue coming up? I tend to think probably not, because we just got a huge death, which was with Alpha. So I'd be pretty shocked. I'd be pretty surprised if Michonne was killed off in this issue. I think it'll probably be at least a couple issues before, maybe a few, before we see a death. So I almost think this cover might just kind of be an artistic, maybe each issue of this Whisperer War arc will have a blood splatter behind somebody, even though we don't know what the what the future covers look like for the rest of the arc. But I'm kind of predicting, I guess, here that I don't think Michonne is going to be killed off yet, even though she's had a pretty extensive story arc throughout the series, and I guess she isn't 100% necessary to the series, but she's just been in it so long. Maybe at the end of the Whisperer War, but I don't think right off the bat right here. I think she'll probably survive this one. Just saying. So some really interesting stuff there about that, and yeah, man, it's going to be a great story arc. I mean, this is one of the ones that should be the most exciting from the whole series, because we really don't know where he's going to go with it. It's really hard to say. And again, from the cover, is Negan, which side is Negan on? Is he going to be on the Survivor side, or is he going to be on the Whisperer side? I think probably Survivor side, but the cover would allude to the opposite for sure. And whoever's leading the Whisperers, whether it be Negan or Beta, probably Beta, I'm leaning more towards Beta, I tend to think that probably pretty soon they're going to attack. So it looks like to me the force that is going to be leading the attack, it seems, against the other communities would probably be the Whisperers going in an attack on the offensive, crossing the border and going after the survivors at this point. I don't think that the survivors right now, it doesn't seem like anyway, we haven't seen them that recently, of course, with the whole issue being about Negan, marching towards the Whisperers, guns at the ready and everything. It seems like probably with regards to the offensive group, it'll probably be the Whisperers attacking, and it might be Alexandria they go for first. So that'll be interesting to say what happens with regards to the Hilltop, the other communities around that we haven't seen for a bit, and any survivors that are part of the communities that are not, actually in Alexandria. It'll be interesting to see how Kirkman kind of connects these different pieces and has them included in the war and included in the story. In terms of deaths for who I think is going to be killed off, near the end of this story arc, there should be at least a couple, but I think probably for at least the first issue or two, you might just get D-level characters, C-level characters, maybe some of the ones he's been developing recently, Magna and characters like that. So we'll see. But that's all I really got to say for now for the Whisperers War, man. I am really excited for it. Can't wait to read it. And of course, as it's July now. We'll be looking at to August to start. It'll be early 2017 when it all wraps up, and I can't wait to see what happens. And I really hope that Kirkman is turning Negan into kind of an ally for Rick, and I hope that maybe eventually Rick could learn to trust him, and maybe he can become, one of our survivors eventually. That'd be really cool to see, and definitely interesting to see. And Vegeta was always one of my favorite characters from Dragon Ball. I love this kind of story arc, and I would love to see it done with Negan too, because he's so much fun. I hate to see him be killed off. I don't think he's going to be killed off in the Whisperers War. I don't think so. So there it is. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen. Write your comments below. And if you want to do any death predictions, write those below too. If you like this video, you can always, of course, thumb it up below. I always appreciate it. You can share. You can favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to go ahead and subscribe. That's it for this one, guys. We'll see you again real soon for another Walking Dead video. Probably tomorrow or the next day. Send me your questions you have for the Q&A. That's it for this one. See you guys soon. It's Trev. I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.
You better subscribe.